Orion, once a tiny bear who got his role hijacked by Artemis, has achieved peak form and the title of Grand Archer, one capable of shooting from anywhere, and his goal, shoot down machine goddess Artemis. Doing so isn't an easy feat. Even with his newfound strength, he needs a few power-ups and some boosts from nanomachines filled with the power of gods and goddesses Chironemia. But that's not all. He also needs a suitable weapon, requiring the use of a divine construct to shoot down the space goddess's body and core out of responsibility and to save her from her current state. This divine construct was made by the apparent remains of Hephaestus using Achilles' armor, which he didn't have at the time but could manifest it, which was enough for Hephaestus to make a suitable divine construct. But due to not having enough to work with, only 2 arrows were created, which was conveniently or inconveniently enough to get the job done, no more, no less. Before the divine construct, named Agies Eclipse, could be made, Orion was tested, facing a copy of Artemis, the one that we know, rather than one that looks more like the avatar of the one up in space, seen in this Lostbelt story. After this construct was made, the machine Artemis decided to shoot down the land that both Hephaestus and the Olympus exiles were located on. The Chaldeans were able to escape thanks to the help of Hephaestus. During the construction of Agies Eclipse, they were attacked, and one of the servants summoned by Odysseus, Charlotte Corday, went berserk due to the Zeus Chironemia inside of her breaking down her spirit origin. The Master and Orion didn't want to kill her, so they went to get some Athena Chironemia to save her. Alternatively, it could have been used on Orion or Achilles to power them up, but both refused to do so. Using some Hephaestus Chironemia resulted in the creation of the Storm Border, and with Jason at their side making a plan, he ordered Orion to go off with Bartholomew on his ship, the Royal Fortune, to Nemises Island to take down Artemis once and for all. Odysseus sends 2 Cerberus to go after the Royal Fortune, and one of them ends up biting Orion's arm, wounding him. After reaching Nemises Island, even with his injured arm, Orion is sure he is still able to achieve his goal, making every shot count, boosted with some support spells from Chaldea. When the time is right, making his first shot, Orion hits Artemis, getting her by surprise. The second shot was clashed with one of Artemis's beams because now she is aware of what's going on and is prepared to counteract whatever they're trying to do. And Orion ends up winning this clash, but it wasn't enough to reach her divine core. Since the shot was neutralized by Artemis, who was able to adapt fairly quickly, and she had their shot ready for them where they didn't have one for her. And in this desperate time of need, a surprising ally appears, Hector, who is summoned by Achilles' request to defend them in this moment. Hector used this moment to block the incoming blast, and his little brother Paris offered himself to be an arrow for Orion to shoot down Artemis. Using Apollo's authority, Paris becomes the arrow needed, but some time is required for this process to go through. That's when Mandricardo, to buy them time, grabs the leftover Durandal, sacrificing himself for the good of the team. Finally, with his new and last arrow, Orion readies the shot, renouncing his power as Grand Archer in this moment, shooting his last shot, piercing Artemis for good this time, and she is thoroughly defeated. Orion, having fulfilled his goal, disappears, allowing the Chaldeans to move on to finish off Poseidon and move on to Olympus. If you enjoy this video. I recommend you watch around this video if you are intrigued by Grand Servants. But if you're interested in other type moon related content or other franchises, then you should check out my channel's other content to show YouTube that my content is worth promoting and getting out to a wider audience.